Okay, so yeah, let's start the lesson paper. So last week we discussed about the viruses and the effects from those. So today we have to move from this point onwards, which we call the health issue related to use of information, communication, and technology, right? So this is the very last part of the lesson. So hopefully we will be able to finish the things up when it comes to the this particular point. So like when it comes to the health issues, the first thing is we have to understand why we are facing health issues when we are like into the ICT, or like when we are using the computer in simple terms, right? It is because the incorrect way of using this technology, not only the technology, the way that we are going to interact with the device, how we are going to sit, how we are going to behave, right? How we are going to interact with it, how long we are going to interact with it. All these facts will be there if you are if you are getting a health issue regarding the ICT, right? So first they have introduce you what is this economics and health, like health issues. Like economics, it is, as they say, that it's a word made without of two words, two Greek language words, which is called the egon, that is regarding the job or an action. Norms is a law, right? So that it actually talks about what are the laws that we have to carry out when we are doing a job, right? So if you does not follow the correct health practices when you are like working with the ICT, you will definitely step into some very uncomfortable health conditions, right? Maybe they are not like deadly, but it is very annoying, right? So it's better we get to know about how we are going to interact with the computer, in which way that we can keep our health in a good condition when we are dealing with ICT, right? So the very first problem, it's called musculoskeletal problem, right? Musculoskeletal problem. It happens because of you are sitting on a one particular position in a one particular way for a long time, right? So, and it will cause if you are sitting in an incorrect way, right, or the wrong posture, right? Basically, it gives the alert to you from your back, right? So your back pains, you will get in uh, the continuous back pains when you do an incorrect posture regarding a particular computing, or like a particular ICT usage, right? So whenever you are going to sit with a computer, you should sit you should use a seat which has a backrest, right? Because if your back is not resting, අපි කියන්නේ ඇඳක් තියන පුටුවක් පාවිච්චි කරන්න කියලා, right? It must have a backrest, as well as that backrest should be something straight, right? Not that is lean to the back, or not that is lean to the forward, right? So it should keep your backbones in a much relaxed manner when you are sitting on a particular chair or some particular seating arrangement, right? If you are not following that, means your muscles besides the backbone is getting weaker, because if you are not resting your back, means the muscles uh, like over here have to give a extra strength, or it should give an extra effort to carry your entire back by itself. When we are resting the back on a particular chair, the muscle is getting a less strain. If you are not resting, that means it is getting more strains. So more strains means the muscle will be tired very soon. So due to that, muscles can be weak. So when the muscles are getting weak, you will be having the pain, right? ඒ කාර්යයට අපි අර අතක් ලොකු වෙලාවක් එක පොසිෂන් එක තියාගෙන හිටියම අපේ අත හිරි වැටෙනවා, රිදෙන්න ගන්නවා. අන්න ඒ හා සමාන දෙයක් තමයි මෙතන සිද්ධ වෙන්නේ. Right? So the main indicator is the muscles of your back. And again, there can be many different places which is infected with the incorrect posture. Right? And the RSI, repetitive stress injuries, right? So the repetitive stress injuries, the indication that you can have is a particular pain is starting from the shoulder and it moves toward your fingers, right? So like sometimes you will feel like there is a swell around your shoulder, right? And some hardness, thadai වගේ දැනෙනවා, right? And which gives you the pain. ගොඩක් වෙලාවට නිකන් අර ඔගොල්ලෝ පෑනකින් ගොඩක් වෙලා ලියාගෙන යනකොට පොතෙත් ඔය හා සමාන ෆීලින් එකක් ඔයගලන්ට එනවා, right? And when you are writing things on a book, you will be having some intervals, right? මොකද අපි ලියන එක දිගටම කරගෙන යන්න කැමති නැහැනේ. We are at some point we are going to get tired within a short period of time. But when we are interacting with the computer, since we are like kind of an addiction of pain to the computer, we forget the pain that we are going through, or we just willingly keep that pain with us, right? So due to this RSI can be happen, right? So when it comes to the worst case scenarios, you will be given the problems of unmovable shoulder. Sometimes your fingers are not going to work, right? Sometimes it will get in the numbness, හිරිවැටෙනවා කියලා අපි කියන්නේ. Those kind of things. Sometimes it will give you some heaty feeling. නිකන් අපි කියන අත පිච්චෙනවා වගේ දැනෙනවා කියලා. Right? So all these things happens due to the incorrect posture. Right? So if you are following the incorrect posture, then of course you can get rid of most of these things. The next one is the CTS, carpal tunnel syndrome. As the picture shows you, this happens due to your wrist is being pressed onto your table or the edge of your table for a long time, right? Most of you have this habit of keeping your wrist against the edge of the table when you are typing or when you are using the mouse. And it is not the way that you should use the mouse or the keyboard. Only your fingertips should be on the mouse or the keyboard. The rest of the arm should be rest with the help of the elbow, right? වැලිමිට යට තියෙන elbow එක වැලිමිට යට තියෙන muscle එකෙන් තමයි අපේ අතේ ඉතිරි කොටස් ටික balance වෙන්නේ. අපි wrist එක නෙවෙයි වල්ලු කර මැණික් කටුව නෙවෙයි තද කරගෙන ඉන්න ඕනේ. wrist එක නෙවෙයි තද කරගෙන ඉන්න ඕනේ. wrist එකට පිටිපස්සෙන් wrist එකයි elbow එකයි අතර තියෙන muscle එක තමයි අපේ අත balance කරන්න අපි use කරගන්නේ. So wrist should be resting, right? And again, I think you have this idea or you have this experience that the mouse pads are produced with a smaller bumper, which will help us to rest our wrist on it when we are moving the mouse, right? So what happens if you don't have that kind of habits? So it will pressurize on your wrist, and later the nerves which are moving through the wrist will be blocked. So due to that, sometimes your fingers may not function properly. Right? So it majorly affects on your fingers because it's the nerves that is controlling your fingers are just there. Right? And it's not going to help you if such thing is happened. Right? Then you have to do the physiotherapies, you have to drink some medicine, and it's a long process for your wrist to be recovered. Right? So it's always prevention is better than cure, right? So let's get prevent before anything hurts us, right? So the next one is a CVS, carpal tunnel. I'm sorry, computer vision syndrome, right? This computer vision syndrome happens due to the the staring of the monitor for a long time. right? So it's not good to stick our eyes continuously, like about 6 to 7 hours in a computer related area, right? Or in simple terms, on a monitor. Because when you looked into a monitor, the the times that we are like clear in our eyes, අපි ඇහිපිය ගහන වෙලාවත් ටික, it's going to change. Like generally when we are like doing some other work, uh, the yeah, I'm sorry, in a normal situation that we are when we are working, our eyes getting wet when we are like splashing our eyelids, right? අපි ඇහිපිය ගහනකොට කරන්නේ ඇහැ සුද්ධ කරන එක. ඒ කියන්නේ ඇහැ සුද්ධ කරන ටය කරන්නේ පොඩි පටලයක් අපේ ඇහි දාලා අර මොකද වෙන්නේ කියන්නේ කඳුළු ගතිය එහෙමත් නැත්නම් අර දියර් තෙතමන ගතිය it's going to maintain, right? But if you are staring at a screen means your frequency of uh, what ඇහිපිය ගහන එක මට ඒකට එන වචනේ නැහැ එකපාරට, right? So like it's going to get reduced. ඇහිපිය ගහන වාර ප්‍රමාණය අඩු වෙනවා. ඇහිපිය ගහන වාර ප්‍රමාණය අඩු වෙනවා කියලා කියන්නේ ඔයාගේ ඇහැ පිරිසිදු වෙන්න තියෙන වාර ප්‍රමාණය අඩු වෙනවා සහ ඇහැ ඇසේ තෙතමනය තබා ගන්න තියෙන ප්‍රමාණය ඔයා නිරන්තරයෙන් රිෆ්‍රෙෂ් කරන්නේ නැහැ කියන එක. Right? So with that it will cause dry eyes as well as some redness in your eyes, right? And tearings will happen. මොකද තෙතමනේ අඩු වෙනකොට ඇහැ හුරු වෙලා තියෙන තෙතමනේ වැඩි කරගන්න. ඒකට එයා automatically කඳුළු ශ්‍රාවය කරන්න බලනවා අපේ ඇස් වලට. Right? So with that tearing can happen, right? And blurred vision and headaches, those kind of things can be there, right? So all these things happens due to the CVS, computer vision syndrome. And the headaches, as the CVS indicates, there can be headaches, right? So headaches happens due to many different things. Like if you got a musculoskeletal problem, still it can cause you a headache. If you got a CVS, again it can cause you a headache, right? So uh, those are the types that when it comes to the health issues of your body, and the mental health issue directly related with the stress. If you cannot manage your stress, then of course you are going to be there like without maintaining or without doing any particular thing, but you being angry, right? So if you want to like get away from the stress or like get rid of the stress, the best thing is taking like a small break of whatever you are doing and focusing on some another thing, and like or like step by step you can overcome the stress situation, right? So with the stress you will feel less sleepiness, more tiredness, right? And there's another one called lack of appetite. That means බඩගිනියෙන් නැති වෙලා යනවා, right? When you are dealing with the stress. Okay, so this one shows you what should be the correct posture when you are like referring to or like when you are using a computer. So as I told you, this is the backrest. It should be there to support or like avoid from the musculoskeletal things. And this is what I call armrest, right? And your feet should be touching the floor. Right? So, and when it comes to the monitor and the eye, there should be a minimum gap of, as they say, it's 15 centimeter, 18 to 28 centimeter inches, or like 45 to 70 centimeters. Like Just for the record, 1 meter distance is it's a good thing. It's a good option, right? So likewise, it indicates you what should be the correct posture when you are there to use a particular monitor or use a particular computer, right? So let's quickly write these things down, people, right? Then we can go for the other things. So have the heading. Right, so after the heading, we don't really need to describe what is economics. Yeah, let's straight away come to the musculoskeletal problems. Yeah, you have to write the entire thing regarding musculoskeletal problem. Put number 1 and go, right? Let me know when you're done, people. Okay, are we done, people? Anyone who is still writing this? Right, moving forward. Repetitive stress injury. Right, are we done with the RSI? Anyone who is still writing regarding the RSI? Okay, Udamya, finish it up. Just let me know. Okay, moving forward, carpal tunnel syndrome. Let me know when you are done, people. Okay, can we move forward? Anyone who is still writing this? Okay, moving forward, CVS, computer vision syndrome, as well as you can go with the headache as well. Yeah, you have to go with the entire paragraph. Right. Okay, so after the headache, it's going to be the stress, the very last one. Right. Anyone who is still writing this? Okay, moving forward. And then we are going to talk about how the correct posture can be taken, or like how we can avoid from these health issues. Yeah, you can go with this. And at home, you better draw this picture, or you can take a photocopy and paste it onto your book. So leave the space for that after this sentence. Then we'll list down the things. Right, so leave the space to draw the diagram, and it's better you list down these. Yes, we have to write a little. So yeah, let's hope and pray it is the last day that we are writing these big notes. Then we can go to the past paper discussions. Yes, people, are we done? Yes, people. Anyone who's still writing? All right. So moving forward. Yeah. So the rest of the things is about talking about the e-waste, right? So like when it comes to the e-waste, uh, it's not normally like that the waste that is being generated by the electronic devices are called e-waste. Electronic products such as computers, televisions, mobile phones, and all these things, they just when they are in a position which cannot be used like further, it will become a waste, right? So any particular device which containing electronic components can be considered as an e-waste. So there are some which is given over here. So these e-waste should be managed in a very particular manner, right? We can't dump them as we manage all other waste with them, right? So there should be a specific way to manage the electronic waste. Otherwise, the components, and there are some elements, several elements, which are not good for the human health, will be added to the all these soil, water, as well as the air, and will be finally like deposit in our body, which will cause different kinds of health issues and some different kinds of sicknesses due to the unsafe e-waste disposal, right? So like if you think about the CFL bulbs, it contains these kind of things, mercury, right? So if you think about a particular circuit, it contains lead most of the time, and many other devices which will cause these kind of things, damage the brain cells, disruptions of the nervous system, making allergies, right? And having what the breathing issues, right? And the liver damages, right? And like when it comes to the deeper, it will what damage the DNA and chromosomes, right? Like if you have heard the story about like when Hiroshima is bombed by the atom bombed, so like the childs that were birthed from generation to generation were having different defects of their body. It's because of this damage of DNA and chromosomes, right? So like these are the elements that is being added by the e-waste into the environment in most of the times, like arsenic, barium, beryllium, cadmium, chromium, dioxins, lead, mercury, selenium, and there are many, right? And for this improper disposal of the e-waste, it will cause these kind of things, swelling and irritation on the body, nausea, and stress, issues in the blood veins, worse come to worse when it comes to the cancers, those kind of things. So to dispose the electronic waste, there are a proper way that we can go through, or like there are proper procedures that we are following through, which we call the 3R system, which you call the reduce, reuse, and the recycle. So reducing means like we can reduce the unnecessary purchases, as well as we can reduce the devices that we are using as well. By if we have any extra devices, we can but sell it to someone else, or like uh, gift it to someone else. So in that case, the reuse will happen, right? So you reduce. So at the same time, the reuse will happen. As well as if the particular device is not in a position to sell or to gift, that means it has a defect or it is not working anymore. So that means you have to give it to a place or give it to an organization who does the proper recycling process, right? In Sri Lanka, like there are not a specific place, but there are organizations which receive those and like they go through the specific scenarios, not the renowned one. But anyway, if you hand them over to a particular place, then they will sort out the things and they will do the proper recycling part where the damage or like expired devices will taken to the production cycle in at a some certain point, right? So those are the things that we can go with the like when it comes to the proper disposal of the e-waste. Okay, so social issues, that's going to be the very last part. So before we jump into that, we'll quickly write about this e-waste, right? So copy it down, people. Yeah, and the definition is enough. You don't need to draw the figure, right? Which defines what are the e-waste are. Right. Can we move forward? Anyone who is still writing this? Okay. So moving forward, yeah, they have specifically talk about the CFL bulbs over here. Yeah, let's write it like this, people. Yeah, let's list this down by saying health hazards and effects of mercury. Yeah, and as well as you can write these things as the continuation of that, right? So it shows you what are the bad effects and the elements which cause the like the health issues, right? Okay, people, are we done? Anyone who is still writing? All right. So moving forward. Yeah, you have to write about this as well. Proper disposal of the e-waste, about the methods, reduce, reuse, and recycle. All right. People, are we done? Okay, anyone who is still writing this? Great. All right. So moving forward, so the social issues related with ICT, right? As I remember, it's the very last topic. Yeah. Then the opportunities have given. Yes. Yes. Okay, so the social issues, the very first issue that they are talking about is the digital divideness, right? So why there is something called digital divideness? It is because like digital divide is defined as the economic and social inequality due to the difference in access to the ability to or use of information communication technology. So for several different reasons, there are people who cannot access the information and communication technology. So because of that, there are people who does not know about the ICT, and there are people who does know about the ICT, right? So that particular division is called the digital divide, right? So there are many reasons for this, like as it shows you, education, right? Ability to use technology, affluence, right? And industrial development, suburbans. So those will be give the positivities to use the ICT. And lack of education, inability to use technology, poverty, under industrial developments, the rural areas, that will push you someone to not to get to know about the ICT, right? So because of that, this division takes place, right? So it is just described over here. We know what it happens, right? When you have the education, you get to know about the knowledge. That is something that you are doing for the moment. You are taking the knowledge about the ICT. But if someone is not learning about the ICT from his childhood, then he may not know about anything about he may not know anything about the ICT, right? So that means there's a big gap in between the person who knows about the ICT and person who does not know about the ICT. Because of that, they are like some people are like tend to use ICT and some people are not, which makes the divide. And availability and unavailability of the technical, right? Or like they don't know, like even though they have the willingness, sometimes they may not have the enough resources, like the resources are not available with them due to some particular reason. It can be a geographical reason, it can be a financial reason. So somehow the technical knowledge is not there, right? So it's again make the divisions. And the affluence and the poverty, so like clearly when you have money you can afford some devices, and when you don't have money you may be in trouble, right? So due to that, there are people who do not touch the sectors like ICT because they think it's an expensive area for us to learn, right? And sometimes they think like not sometimes it's true that you need a computer to learn ICT, but if you really don't have any way to access an ICT resource, of course it's going to be a problem. So due to that, if you don't have any resources, any shared resource like in your school, so like if you don't have the money as well to buy that, of course you may not have a chance to go with the ICT. There are people even in our country who really does not have that much of touch with the computer, right? Industrial development and under industrial development, so like industrially developed area are the places which gain a lot of technology around it. So ICT is one of those. So because of that, people who around that will be able to experience it, and people who does not are being not given the chance to use that. Again, when it comes to suburban and rural parts, so like suburbs, they the businesses are going around, the society is gathering around, and investments are happening. So does the technology is also there. So the suburban people, they just they have a lot of opportunities to use ICT. When it comes to the rural areas, they are just depending on the very basic needs, right? So like having technology like ICT is something extra for them, or else they have to reach the town area for the main town for them to like go through the technologies like this, right? So due to that, again, the knowledge of the ICT, the knowledgeableness is varying. Again, it creates the gap. So when there is a digital divideness, we should try out to bridge that gap, right? Or to fill out that gap. So when we need to fill out that thing, we have to find out what are the solutions that we can give to bridge this gap, right? So the digital bridge is the one which minimizes the gap between the digital divides, right? So here are some ways that they can do, right? They can increase the digital literacy, right? That is by providing the proper digital education, or like ICT education, and empowering the people with the knowledge of the ICT. Now, if you think about Sri Lanka, right? So like we have these Vidata centers, Nanasala centers, CRC, Computer Resource Centers, to spread the ICT knowledge towards island-wide, right? So they will introduce new courses, they will introduce the new technologies into the country, and they show you the job opportunities that you can find through the ICT. So people will tend to move to those points, those centers, to grab the ICT knowledge. Right? It's one way of bridging it. And supply of computers. That is, of course, if your school uh, is lack of computer resources, is with lack of computer resources, we have to provide. Either the government should provide, or they should find a donator, or a charity person, or some particular organization which can bring the ICT knowledge into the school, right? So it will be easier for them to have the resources, the computers mainly, in the particular organization, so the students will be able to experience that. Even for the people who are not in a good financial condition, the banks, the financial institutes can manage the easy payment systems for them to purchase a good, or the purchase the technical device and pay little by little, right? So the people who don't have the enough financial benefits or enough financial strength to purchase it at once will move to the purchase on an easy payment system. It says equal opportunity to dispel other financial difficulties. Yes, again, that's what we were talking about, right? So like sometimes there can be some programs where they can, where a particular organization can spread, or like can donate some devices by researching the crowd, or the citizens, or the countrymen who are living inside the like rural areas, and they can, after the research, they can donate some particular devices into these particular families, or else, as we talked about, like we can arrange an easy payment system for them to reach or to purchase the technical devices as per they earn, right? And again, like you can spread the word, or you can do the arrangement inside the platforms like social media, and have the strength of group, have the strength of group of people, and raise a particular fund, and help for the people who really going through hard financial, like financial difficulties in reaching the ICT, right? And participation of intermediaries, right? Like you can be a middle person, like as a businessman, as a teacher, as a people's association, right? And you can help both the parties. Like you can contact the people who have the resources, and you can take the sponsorships to the people who need that, right? Which will be giving you, or like giving the digital divideness to be bridged through this particular process, right? And the another problem is de-skilling, right? So like de-skilling means like it's kind of a problem, like when the robots and all these things are involved, in the manufacturing industry, in the packaging industry, the people who were doing that part or like doing that job are losing their jobs due to this robotics, right? So if you think about a particular automobile manufacturing company, it is like fully automated. Most of things, like more than 90% of the factory is automated. Earlier, they had a chance, or they have given this chance to a particular human, and they get paid, and they were managing their families. But now that chance is being taken out, or like it's been invaded by the machines. And at the other hand, there are many other new areas which has been emerged on those sectors. But the problem is, if a person is get used to do, or if a person get used to create or like mend a vehicle, we can't ask him to get used to do some another thing, because it is something that he has practiced. It is something that he has used to do. So like getting used to a new job will take time, and he will face financial difficulties intermediately, right, on that particular transferring period. And sometimes he may not have enough age or enough financial facilities to get used to a new job, right? So which will negatively affects on the people, right? So likewise, some examples are given here. Machineries has taken over the industry, replacing the talented people. Libraries have been made to close down the jobs to sector in the sector lost due to the electronic books and magazines. Online learning through the distance mode has limited the teacher resources, right? The one that we are facing now. Health concerns are easily sorted out from the home itself, cutting down the jobs opportunities to the laboratory services, right? So it goes in many different ways, right? Okay, so people, yeah, there are some things to be write down, so it will take some time, right? So I was trying to finish up with this, but it seems we have to continue to the next week as well. So for next week, we will definitely finish up these things, and week after, we will be going for the past paper discussions, right? So I'm going to end the session from here just for today, right? Since we got only 4 minutes, and since we had to write a lot, we'll write this down in a cool way, right? By next week when we are meeting. So after the next week, we will be discussing the past papers. So by next week, I'll tell you how we are going to do that, and how do you need to get prepared with it, right? So with that instructions, we will be able to finish up the lesson once and for all, right? And meantime, go through the things that you have learned. If you got anything, if you feel anything is difficult for you, so you will clear out the things when we are doing the revision in part. But still, if you need to ask any questions regarding that, next week will be a good time to start asking those questions, right? So yeah, we are coming to an end, people, right? So get ready. It's the paper time. So it's the time for you to shape up the knowledge and make it into an A, right, on your level examination. All right, so thank you very much, everyone. I'll see you next week for the very same time to finish the lesson and to give you the guidelines for the past paper discussion, right? So thank you very much, everyone. I'll see you next week for the very same time. Okay, everyone, thank you very much. Thank you.